بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام وجعلنا الله وإياكم من الطالبين بثهره بين يدي الإمام المنصور المؤيد المهدي من آل محمد اللهم صل على الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله أما بعد يقول الله في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. As we know, today is the fourth day of the sacred month of Muharram al-Haram, and throughout my lectures I have on the first of Muharram al-Haram I talked about the journey of Imam Hussain from Medina to Makkah to Kufa, eventually to Karbala. And then on the second of Muharram, I talked about the birth of the Imam and the Imam's relationship with his grandfather. Then on the third of Muharram, I talked about the event of Mubahila and the Imam's relationship with his father. And yesterday, I also continued with the relationship of Imam Hussain with his father, and I talked about Dua Mashlul and obedience to parents. Today, I'll hopefully continue. I expanded on this a little bit. Today, I'll be talking about the Imam's marriage and his children, and Imam Hussein's impact outside of Karbala. So we start off by continuing from yesterday. Imam Hussein, Imam Hussein's marriages were all on the basis of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and they were all chosen by Imam Ali alayhi salam. If we look at how many wives Imam Ali married 9 wives. Imam Hussein, however, married 7 wives. So if I go through the names, I'll mention the names quickly. Imam Ali married who? Imam Ali married Fatima Zahra. He married Amama, the niece of Fatima. He married Khawla bin Jafar, the mother of Muhammad ibn Hanafiya. He married Fatima bint Hizam al-Kalabiya, that was known as al-Banin, the mother of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. He married Asma bint Umais. He married Layla. He married Ansa'in Thaqafiya. He married As-Sahba, and he married Mahya, the daughter of Umar bin Qais. Imam Hussain, however, he married 7 wives, all on the basis of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So the first wife Imam Hussain married is Layla. Layla was the daughter of Abi Murrah, the son of Urwa ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi. So if we look at Layla's grandfather from one side and the other side. So if we look at Layla's grandfather from one side, Layla's grandfather from one side was Urwa bin Mas'ud. Urwa bin Mas'ud was known as the mu'min of Al Yasin in the time of Rasulullah. And then Layla's grandfather from the other side was Abu Sufyan. Because Layla's mother, Maymuna, is the daughter of Abu Sufyan. That's why on the 10th of Muharram, Yazid said to his soldiers, go and tell my cousin. Because Layla's uncle is Muawiyah and her first cousin's Yazid. So Layla, Imam married her. Then Imam Hussain, Then Imam married Rabab. Rabab's father was originally a Christian. He converted to the religion of Islam. Now, Rabab had 2 other sisters. Imam Ali married the first sister, Mahiyat. Then Imam Hassan married the next sister, whose name was Hayat. Then Imam Hussain married Rabab. That's number 2. Number 3, he married a woman by the name of Shah Zanan. Originally, her name was Shah Zanan. Shah Zanan in Arabic means Sayyidatin Nisa. And Imam Ali decided when Imam Hussain married Shah Zanan, Imam Ali said change her name from Shah Zanan to Shaharbanu. Because there is only one Sayyidatin Nisa. That is Fatima Zahra. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. So now if we look at the children of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hussain had 4 sons. He had 7 sons and 4 daughters. The three main of the sons is Imam Zain al-Abidin, Hazrat Ali al-Akbar, and Hazrat Ali al-Asghar. Now, if we look a little bit of depth about the 3 sons of Imam Hussain. If we look at Hazrat Ali Akbar, now, in my own personal opinion, I believe Hazrat Ali Akbar is older than Imam Zain al-Abidin. Even the historians are unanimous. They all say that Hazrat Ali Akbar is older than Imam Zain al-Abidin. That's number one. Number two, Imam Zain al-Abidin was the second son of Imam Hussain, and Hazrat Ali al-Asghar. Now, if we ever go to the Iraqi or the Iranian or the Lebanese community, they wouldn't call Ali al-Asghar the 6th month. They will call the 6th month Abdullah al-Radhi. Abdullah al-Radhi is the 6-month-old child of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. But however, I think if you go to the Indo-Pak, because Ali al-Asghar is the 6-month-old child for an Indo-Pak trend. It's an Indo-Pak trend. Because I think what would have happened is there was confusion within the books and they gave Abdullah's age to Ali al-Asghar. However, in the historians have said that Ali al-Asghar was about 7 to 12 years old on the 10th of Muharram. So now if we look at the daughters, Imam Hussain had 4 daughters. He had Sukaina and Ruqayya. Now, Sukaina is different to Ruqayya, in my personal opinion. Sukaina is different to Ruqayya, and Sukaina lived until old age. However, there's a hadith saying that Sukaina bint al-Hussein, she became older and she was a poet and she was a singer, etc. But we do not believe in this hadith. We reject this hadith. That was Sukaina bint Khalid bin Zubayriyah. And the person to mention this is Mus'hab bin Zubair. Mus'hab bin Zubair is the only person to narrate this particular hadith, but however, we reject this hadith. We do not accept this hadith. So Sukaina and Ruqayya, the first two, and Ruqayya is who died in Sham. Ruqayya is the one who died in Sham. And then there was Fatima Sughara, and then there's a hadith by Imam Hussain alayhi salam saying that Fatima, she is the only daughter of mine that reminds me of my mother, Fatima Zahra. And then he had a 4th daughter by the name of Zainab. Now, that is just a brief context about the Imam's marriages and his children. So now I would like to go to the impact of Imam Hussain outside of Karbala. Many people say that when it came to Karbala on the 10th of Muharram, Imam Hussain was very generous and he was very kind and he was warm to everyone. Imam Hussain, years before Karbala, was generous and humble to others. So I'd like to mention a few stories. Then there's an example of Imam Hussein's knowledge years before Karbala. A young man comes to Imam Hussain and says to Imam Hussain, I cannot stop sinning. So Imam Hussain then said to him, okay, you can continue to sin. But there are 5 conditions when you sin. Number 1, sin where Allah cannot see you. That's condition number 1. Condition number 2, sin, but don't sin on Allah's earth. Go somewhere else and build your earth and go sin over there. Number 3, sin, but don't use Allah's rizq. Allah's rizq as what? Allah's sustenance. Don't use Allah's sustenance or Allah's rizq as the energy to sin. Number 3. Number 4, sin. But when the angel of death comes to take your soul away, don't say, right now is not the time. Number 5, sin. But when you are punished in the fire of hell, do not shout by saying, I am not supposed to be here, get me out. If you pass the 5 conditions, then you can continue sinning. He said, Oh Abu Abdullah, I am never going to sin again because it is impossible to go through these conditions. It is impossible to sin in a place where Allah can't see you. It is impossible to go somewhere else and build your own earth, as Allah is the only one that can do that. It is impossible to sin without using the rizq of Allah, the sustenance of Allah, as the energy. And it's impossible to sin. But if the angel of death comes to take your soul, and you cannot say that is not the time, because you had your chance on earth to be the right Muslim, to forgive, namaz, and to do all the good deeds, and then you had your chance to ask for forgiveness. But if this angel of death come to take your soul, then right now you cannot. There's not enough time to tell the angel of death to not take my soul yet. And then the fifth sin is that when you're in fire of hell, you cannot come out of it. So then Imam said, the five conditions, those are five conditions that you need to pass, then you can sin freely, openly, you can sin. But you cannot pass these five conditions. So that came when it came to the knowledge of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. So now there's another story of the generosity of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Someone came to Imam Hussain after his father died, after Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen died. How old was Imam Hussain? Imam Hussain was 36 when Imam Ali died. So imagine your father died, and someone comes up to you from Syria. They say to you, what's your name? And then Imam Hussain said, I am Hussain. And he was like, son of who? He said, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, and the person from Syria said, may Allah curse you and curse your father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. If someone answered back to us like that, what would we do? We would shout at them, we tried fighting them, we would not be generous towards them. We would be angry, we would assault, we would do anything in our power to hurt the person. But Imam Hussain is teaching us to not to hurt another person, because it is wrong. It's wrong to hurt another person. And Imam said, is the wind of the area hurting you? Or maybe you've had a disagreement with your family. Is there a shelter for you to stay in, or has no one provided you with food and clothing? If you do not have any of these conditions, then please come and stay at my house. This is the generosity of the Ahlul Bayt. The Ahlul Bayt is trying to teach us, if someone is rude or angry towards you, do not come to their level. Go above them and be generous and humble towards them. He said, Abu Abdullah, I cursed your father in front of you, and this is how you reply back to me. And he said, this is the way of the Ahlul Bayt والسلام, and this is what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has taught us. Inshallah ta'ala, I will start with a new topic tomorrow, as today I've finished the brief biography of Imam Hussain. So inshallah ta'ala, I'll start with a new topic tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.